Reacher Season 3 must take one important lesson from Netflix's 96% Rotten Tomatoes action thriller. Reacher Season 3 could avoid repeating its predecessor's biggest mistakes if it learns one crucial lesson from Netflix's 96% Rotten Tomatoes action movie. Although a confirmed release date for Reacher Season 3 has not been announced yet, the production for the upcoming season of the Amazon show is already underway. Considering its casting details and book choice for adaptation, Reacher Season 3 is seemingly on the right path towards continuing the series' successful run. As reports confirm, Reacher Season 3 is adapting Lee Child's Persuader, which offers a compelling story that will likely translate well to the small screen. It is also marking the return of Maria Stenz Neagley, whose appearance in the season will likely pave the way for her confirmed spin-off series. Even the casting choices made for Reacher Season 3 so far seem perfectly in tandem with the original book's characters. However, even though Reacher Season 3 has a lot going on in its favor, it could benefit from learning one lesson from a successful action movie on Netflix. Reacher Season 2 leaned too much into over-the-top action like Season 1. Reacher Season 2 was both critically and commercially successful when it premiered on Prime Video. However, a common complaint surrounding its action sequences suggests it took its plot armor a little too far. While Jack Reacher is supposed to be an overpowered protagonist who seemingly has borderline superhuman abilities even in Lee Child's original Jack Reacher books, Season 2 changes many scenes from Lee Child's bad luck and trouble to make the Alan Ritchson character seem even more formidable than his original counterpart. For instance, towards the end of the book, Jack Reacher merely hides inside a chopper and waits for Langston and his man to arrive before attacking them. However, in the show, he leaps onto the helicopter, grabs its landing skid, and climbs inside it to duke it out with the bad guys. Moments later, he somehow manages to single-handedly beat the bad guys, despite having a knife ripping through his arm. In several other scenes, Reacher Season 2 makes the titular character seem too invincible, which takes away the sense of realism that made Season 1 compelling. Rebel Ridge proves Reacher is better off keeping its action realistic in its opening moments. Rebel Ridge is similar to Reacher in more ways than one. Like Jack Reacher, its protagonist, Terry Richmond, arrives in a small town with little to no belongings. However, before he knows it, he finds himself in the local law enforcers' crosshairs when they unjustly seize his money. Similar to Jack Reacher, Terry Richmond chooses to fight against the corrupt local law enforcers. However, unlike Jack Reacher, Terry Richmond takes a more cerebral approach. He realizes he cannot afford to leave a trail of blood behind him. Therefore, instead of getting involved in a mindless fight for vengeance against the local police officers, he resorts to non-lethal methods of combat. By emphasizing Terry Richmond's approach, the Jeremy Saulnier movie hints at his martial arts background from the military. At the same time, it also highlights that regardless of how overpowered he may be, Richmond is not above the law and could face severe legal consequences for his actions. While Reacher Season 2 diminishes its sense of realism by stacking Jack Reacher's kill count to unrealistic levels, Rebel Ridge opts for a more grounded portrayal of the overarching conflict. This arguably makes Rebel Ridge more immersive and relatable than Reacher Season 2. It also allows the movie to draw a clear distinction between the morally righteous protagonist and the corrupt, antagonistic police officers. Rebel Ridge's ability to be relatable proves that Reacher could also benefit from keeping its action sequences more grounded in realism. As action-packed TV shows continue to rise in popularity, fans have plenty of options when it comes to high-octane entertainment. Among these, Amazon's Reacher series has emerged as a strong contender. Based on Lee Child's best-selling Jack Reacher novels, the show debuted to considerable fanfare in 2022 with its mix of brutal combat, mystery, and the imposing presence of Alan Ritchson in the title role. However, for the series to reach even greater heights in Season 3, it should draw inspiration from another action thriller that has taken Netflix by storm, a show that has not only captivated viewers, but achieved a stellar 96% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. That show is Carter. While Reacher and Carter are both action-driven, they represent two distinct approaches to the genre. However, one crucial lesson that Reacher Season 3 could take from Carter is the latter's ability to merge relentless action with narrative urgency and sustained tension. Here's how Carter sets a benchmark for action series, and why Reacher must incorporate this lesson if it wants to elevate its third season. Relentless pace and high stakes. One of the most impressive aspects of Carter is its relentless pacing. The show thrusts viewers into a constant barrage of adrenaline-fueled sequences, giving the audience barely a moment to catch their breath. From the very first scene, the stakes are sky-high and they remain elevated throughout the show. This is where Reacher could potentially level up. While the first 2 seasons of Reacher certainly had their fair share of tension and action, there were moments where the pacing faltered, often allowing for slower, more procedural investigations to dominate. In contrast, Carter excels in maintaining momentum. The action serves the story at every turn, driving the narrative forward rather than functioning as mere spectacle. If Reacher can adopt this model, creating a sense of urgency that doesn't wane, the show could reach a broader audience, keeping viewers hooked from start to finish. The balance between action and storytelling is key. Carter shows that you don't need to compromise one for the other. Seamless choreography and cinematic style, Reacher has earned praise for its brutal, realistic fight scenes, with Alan Ritchson's physicality and performance bringing Jack Reacher's combat expertise to life. But when compared to Carter, there is room for improvement in terms of choreography and visual presentation. Carter stands out for its jaw-dropping fight sequences that blend martial arts, gunplay, and close-quarters combat into a seamless, kinetic experience. Every punch, kick, and bullet feels dynamic, fluid, and choreographed to perfection, often shot in long takes that immerse the audience fully in the action. Incorporating a similarly cinematic approach in Reacher could elevate the series' fight scenes to a new level. Imagine seeing Reacher's devastating combat skills showcased in long, unbroken takes, where viewers can appreciate the choreography and the sheer brutality of his methods. Such an approach would heighten the intensity of the fight scenes, giving the audience a visceral thrill, and further separating Reacher from standard action fare on television. Compelling antagonists. A compelling hero like Jack Reacher is only as good as his antagonists, and this is another area where Carter shines. In Carter, the stakes are deeply personal, and the villains are intricately tied to the protagonist's journey. The antagonists aren't just faceless enemies, but serve to deepen the story's emotional impact, making the conflict more intense and meaningful. While Reacher has had memorable villains so far, it could benefit from further development of its antagonists, making them more than just obstacles for Reacher to overcome. By adding layers of complexity to its villains in Season 3, Reacher could create a more engaging dynamic between Reacher and his foes, heightening the drama and creating a deeper emotional connection with the audience. This would also allow for more varied conflict beyond physical confrontation, introducing psychological and emotional battles that challenge Reacher in new and exciting ways. Personal stakes and emotional core beyond its thrilling action, Carter succeeds by grounding its plot in a personal mission, which makes the audience invest emotionally in the character's journey. Reacher has touched on Jack's personal motivations before, but Season 3 could benefit from raising the emotional stakes. As much as audiences love to watch Jack Reacher dismantle his enemies, they'll be even more invested if the stakes are more personal to him, adding a layer of vulnerability to his otherwise impenetrable exterior.